There we go. Now we have a microphone. We are live. Welcome, everybody. I know that everybody back here is wondering why I'm speaking back here, but I'm saying hi to everybody online. Welcome to Tucson New Thought. Let's start this day. What do you say?
Yay!
William said that I have no reason to not be energetic today. That goes for all of us. What do you say? All right. If you feel compelled and you'd like to stand up and let your body move to this first song, you are welcome to. And there are some instructions here. Are you ready? Take a look at the person next to you. Say, I recognize the light in you. Feel the love you were born to be. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. We do come together in the name of love, right? Yes, we do, because love is all there is. This is the expression of God in its fullness right here and right now. And each and every one of us is a perfect individualized expression, lighting up the world with our love. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, the light's in me and it's in you too. Feel the love you were born to be. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. In every walk of life, in every creed and color, in kinship we unite to honor the light in each other. Take a look at the person next to you. Say, namaste, I bow to you. Feel the love you were born to be. Lift your voice, repeat after me. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. We come together. We come together. We come together in the name of love. All right. We do come together in the name of love. How wonderful it is to see all your beautiful faces today. I am so grateful that you've decided to spend your Sunday morning right here with this community, Tucson New Thought. We are a spiritual community where everyone is welcome. Every creed, every race, every color, everyone. There is no one who we will exclude, because what is the point of exclusion? We get to be inclusive and embrace everyone with our love. And we are born of love. That's the truth. That's the truth. We are a community with a vision to create a world that works for everyone. That is the vision of Tucson New Thought. And we do this through our mission, which is to provide practical tools for personal and spiritual transformation. Are you ready to be transformed? Yes? Yes. Yes. Everyone at any point of their life is welcome. And any point of their spiritual path is welcome. We honor community, creativity, diversity, but most of all, love. That's the word that always comes rolling off my tongue most frequently. I think if you were to do a word cloud for all of the words that I say on a Sunday, love is going to be the biggest one right in the middle. It really is. So I want to recognize in each and every one of you that as I look in your beautiful faces, that I only see magnificence. You are magnificent. This is the truth. I'm just taking it all in right now. And now I'd like for you to look around and see what I see, and see your neighbor and say to your neighbor, you are magnificent. You are magnificent. And each and every one of you online with us, you are magnificent. You are magnificent. Yes. Let's take a moment and allow ourselves to come to center. As we go into a centering practice, I'm going to invite Stefan to noodle a little bit. Taking this purposeful opportunity right here and right now to simply relax right where we are. To breathe. To breathe. Settling into the breath, allowing the focus to fall to the breathing, and the deep realization and recognition that there's nothing we need to do to make it happen. It's simply the natural flow. As we settle in, deepening more and more, with each exhale, we realize our body is becoming more relaxed. We simply inhale and exhale. In and out, allowing it to just be simple. Living in this consideration that right here and right now, we are each of us held in the hands of grace. I allow gratitude to well up within myself and trust that this gratitude is pouring forth from me in everything I think, everything I say, everything I do. And I invite each and every one of us to go on that journey with the recognition that we are each of us involved and engaged in our own evolution, our spiritual evolution. For the inherent nature of each and every one of us is spiritual, it is divine. Imagining with each breath that we are breathing love, breathing in the love that everyone here shares, breathing out the love that we have to share, and recognizing now that this entire place is filled with love, not just this room, but this city, this state, this country, this planet. We are immersed in and as love, allowing this to be the point of view for these next few moments in the silence. In the silence, there is peace. In the silence, there is unspoken joy. In the silence, there's release. As my heart opens up to the voice, I awake to these precious moments when I hear all that could ever be said, and right here in this holy silence, I find God, I find myself. I invite you to gently affirm within, repeating with your inner voice, I am here. I am fully present. I am open to a positive, inspiring experience for myself and for this entire group. And with a final easy breath, I invite you to open your eyes. And if you would like to continue singing with me, the lyrics are on your handout. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release. As my heart opens up to the voice, I awake to these precious moments when I hear all that could ever be said. And right here in this holy silence, I find God. Oh, I find God. I find myself. I had this moment right in the middle of all that. And I thought, oh, if I print the lyrics on the program, I should probably invite people to open their eyes if they want to sing. These are the things that go through a minister's head when we're up here leading. If you knew the thoughts that were in my head. The thought that's in my head right now, though, which I'm grateful for, is that we have a magnificent, inspirational reading experience. What am I calling it today? It's just perfection, whatever it is. Well, that's the theme. Grace, gratitude, and trust are the themes. But we have a magnificent person who's going to join me on stage and offer a reading and some reflection for you. So I'd like to welcome to this stage for the first time Robbie Jean Chandler. Thank you. Let's give her a round of applause. Is that, here, I can adjust this too. Unless you'd like to hand hold it. Okay. Just speak into the mic so everyone online can hear you.
I need it a little closer.
Will you put it wherever you need it?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. Well, it is certainly a pleasure to be here and up here on the podium and just seeing everybody's wonderful, cheerful, smiling, happy face. I all thank you so much for being here. Now, being the theme of the month is the grace, the gratitude, and the truth. Of course, I went out and I did a little research and checking things out and checking my understanding of the true definitions of these words. And I found a rather fascinating trail as I read through there. But before I go into that trail, I would like to go into, oops, I lost it. Oh, here it is. How many of you know Howard Thurman? Awesome individual. And he has this Meditations of the Heart book he's put out. And it's just, he has just some beautiful things, and I'd like to read you one of his meditations this morning. It says, how wonderful it is to be able to feel things deeply. The sheer delight of fresh air when you have been indoors all day. Get a little closer. The never-ending wonder of sunrise and sunset, the sound of wind through the trees and the utter wetness of the rain, the excitement of finding something that was lost and is now found. My fountain pen, a beautiful word forgotten, the return of an old book, the reconciliation after okay, however we say this, estrangement. The first step after months of illness. How moving is the sheer wonder of being necessary to the life of another. The source of food for a dog or a cat. The giving of a gentle word when you did not know that such a word was desperately needed. The sharing of so little at the crucial point of acute urgency. The invasion of the mind and heart with a sense of presence in which all of one's being suddenly becomes God's dwelling place. And I'd like to ask you a question. In that meditation, can you find our grace, our gratitude, and our trust? Can you feel that and sense that? Because when I went and looked up the words grace, gratitude, and trust to check my understanding and how I use them in the English language, I was pleased to learn I was using them in accordance to the dictionary's definition. If you take your time and go through and really find the exact one you're looking for, because there's so many different definitions for so many of them. But the interesting thing is that grace and gratitude are, in fact, one and the same, according to the dictionary. Because when you look at the definition of grace, it talks about gratitude. When you look at the definition of grateful or gratitude, it's talking about being thankful. So it's these things were just, they were stirred in me deeply as I look at this, because then I go to truth. And I look at truth and I go, truth is love. Gratitude is love. And gratefulness is love. Would you agree with me? Yeah. And I just went, that's so awesome. Because as I listen to Jonathan every day, or every Sunday, saying and talking about love, 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 it's just marvelous to go in to do a little research on this and see how it comes full circle. Everything comes out of that. I have a computer program, not really a program, a document, and it's called Ernest Holmes Expanded. I know some of you have heard of it, some of you have not. Someone took the time to go through all of Ernest Holmes' writings, books, and compile, according to title, the verses that reflected, in this case, grace, gratitude, and truth. And I'd just like to real quickly read a couple of those to you, so you can just take those with you, take those into your heart also, and take them with you today. So from a Holmes Reader on Change that he wrote in 1965, on page 46, it says, "Trust life. There is no power in the universe which wishes anyone ill. Life is good and God is good. Why not accept this and begin to live, knowing that goodness surrounds you?" That's wonderful. "No one need prepare to meet God. We are meeting God in the rising sun, in the flowing stream, in the budding rose, in the joy of friendship and love, and in the silence of our own souls." Is that not where we make our connection? I know it is for me. It's deep within that silence. Excuse me. And in The Power of an Idea, in 1965, on page 26, paragraph 1, Ernest writes, "Gratitude is not only a virtue, but it also is a part of a practical philosophy of daily life." How many would agree? Right? I can't hear heads. There is no wiser way of living than to remember every morning what life has given us, and to lift up our thoughts in thankfulness, in gratefulness for every bounty we possess. So in other words, it's count our blessings every morning and be grateful and walk in grace, in beauty, and love for the true being that you truly are. And I thank you each.
Thank you, Robbie Jean. As you were starting to read and offer this morning, I was welled up with gratitude and grace, since they are really the same thing. At the what you were reading made me think of one of my favorite songs by Lisa Ferraro and Attica Luckett. I mentioned it a few weeks ago. And basically the gist of the song is, if you're not in awe, you're not paying attention. And that's really what that brought to mind for me. Thank you. If you're not in awe, you're not paying attention. Well, let's all pay attention. What do you say? I'm also stealing that. I can't hear heads. That was great. I've never heard anybody use that before, but it's mine now. It's one mind. It's all of ours now. So now is the time when we ceremonially honor all religious paths and faith traditions. I'm going to invite William to come up and help me here through a ceremony that we call lighting the flames of faith. And for each candle that we light, we recognize that all people, all faiths, are connected as spirit, and that all form comes from this infinite energy and wholeness, and it is the source of all creation. So everything that we experience, you ready for this? It's all made up. It's all made up. I know, shocking. So we honor all of the faith traditions, including this one, which is made up. Shocking. But we start today with lighting a candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the divine will of love as the highest calling. We light a candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light a candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. We light a candle for all those who are as yet unaware of the power and presence of spirit in their lives, and for the space that we are holding for them and for all faith traditions unnamed in this ceremony. We light a candle to represent the healing of any circumstance that requires divinity to be revealed. And the final candle we light is your candle, the candle for you to illuminate whatever it is in your mind that requires illumination. And you get to decide what that is. Thank you, William. We have a special treat today. A few weeks ago, as we were moving into I'm putting it right there, as we were moving into the month of grace, gratitude, and trust, I was approached by someone who said, I have a song that will go perfectly with the theme. It's all about gratitude. And I said, great, send me a demo. So she sent me a video of her singing this song, and I thought, well, I love it, and it's so much fun, and I think we're going to do that on the Sunday right before Thanksgiving. So please welcome Anita Summers with her song, Attitude of Gratitude.
So technically, it says music and lyrics by Anita Summers, but technically it should say by Anita Summers and Spirit, because this is one of several songs that it was this woo inspirational channeled thing that happened a few years ago, and I got the bulk of it from Spirit, and I just fine-tuned it. So we should both be on there. Are we ready? Yes. All right. How many of you get tired of hearing people say, be thankful for everything that comes into your life? You really just want an audience that will let you whine in peace. Instead, you're feeling lectured by the attitude police. I got so sick of the party line, I nearly had a fit. I knew that all those people were completely full of nonsense. But they looked so darn happy, I thought maybe it was true. I just had to try it, then I had to change my point of view. 'Cause life looks very different when it's all a gift, especially those things that you really want to shift. There's a purpose for it all, everything and everyone. An attitude of gratitude makes life a lot more fun. I used to stress and think the things I didn't like were bad. I was often angry and I was often sad. I tried so hard to get control, make everything just so. But I'm getting good at letting go and going with the flow. But it isn't always easy. Sometimes it still is work, especially when I think someone, hi sweetie, is acting like a jerk. But I know that there's a lesson that I can always find. And a funny thing has happened. I got lots more peace of mind. Who knew? You might wonder what it might look like if you gave this if you gave this a shot. You'd have to make some changes, starting with some thoughts. Come on and drink the Kool-Aid. I promise it's okay. Then you won't want to live your life in any other way. 'Cause life looks very different when it's all a gift, especially those things that you really want to shift. There's a purpose for it all, everything and everyone. An attitude of gratitude makes life a lot more fun. An attitude of gratitude makes life a lot more fun.
Anita Summers, thank you. An attitude of gratitude makes life a lot more fun. True, true, true. How's it going? I'm going to talk for a while.
Okay.
If you want to go and, relax. Stefan Vikinger. Did I say it right? Vikinger. Close. It's Icelandic, so it doesn't trip off of my tongue so easily, but I'm so grateful for Stefan and what he brings. I live in gratitude every single day and every single moment. This is part of my spiritual practice. And gratitude really, gratitude is the engine, gratitude is the gasoline in the engine of creation. When we live in gratitude, we create our lives more easily. We just do. Our lives are created in the way that we would like much more easily. Ernest Holmes wrote this. This is one of my favorite quotes. It comes up this particular Sunday in relationship to Thanksgiving every single year. The irony is it used to come up in October or at the end of September because I was celebrating Thanksgiving in Canada for many years, and they do that in October. But always in relationship, I would use this quote: "An attitude of gratitude is most salutary and bespeaks the realization that we are now in heaven." Right now. This is it, folks. Heaven is not a place we're going to. Not the other place either, because they're not places. Heaven and hell are states of mind, and we're living them right here, right now, based on what we're thinking, what we decide to think, the way we decide to be. We're either living in hell or we're living in heaven. You get to decide. It's this moment now. Because you know what? Even the moment 2 seconds ago when I was talking about it, that's done. Where was I 2 seconds ago? Doesn't matter. Where am I now? Am I in heaven or am I in hell? This is the decision I get to make in every single moment. This is the decision that I get to encourage in everyone in every single moment. I love negative people. I love negative people. And here's why. Because I get to be a light for them. Because that is my decision, to live as the light, to live the light of gratitude in every single moment and encourage people to, not because I'm forcing them to do anything, but by example, I get to be a way shower to a different way of being. We don't have to be negative, not a single one of us. But boy, it creeps in. I'll tell you, it creeps in for me sometimes. Does it creep in for anybody else? See, I love that. I can't hear you nodding your head. I love everybody's like, yes! An attitude of gratitude is most salutary and bespeaks the realization that we are right now in heaven. So how high can we go? That's the altitude of attitude. How high can we go in the expression and the experience of gratitude? Well, here's the great news. If God is unlimited and infinite, then the places we can go in gratitude is unlimited and infinite. There is always more to know, always more to be, always more to experience and express. Now I'm going to be really self-conscious. I have to tell you, I have to be self-conscious because somebody mentioned last week that when I'm making a point, I do this a lot. Now I'm very self-conscious of it. I'm grateful for the self-conscious nature of my mind working right here and right now. We can reach immense heights that we never thought we could reach. Yeah. Jazz hands. No, gee, thanks. No, I don't want to stand still, because here's the thing. I don't like to feel contained. So, gratitude has allowed me to navigate a particular period of my life that was challenging. The last year and a half of my life was very challenging. Making the decision to leave a pulpit, sorry, I'm really emotional about it. Making the decision, opening up to the realization that it was my time to step down from a pulpit was very hard for me because I had poured so much of my beingness, so much of my life into building that spiritual community in Toronto. And here's the thing. I built a community that thrives, not because of me, but because it's a community. You know, I joke every week saying, this is not meant to be the Jonathan show, and that's why I'm encouraging more people to express and experience and give of their creative selves up here on stage. I built a community. I didn't build a community. The community built a community. We came together in love and in harmony and in gratitude, and we built, and we built, and we built. And I'm so grateful that I'm able to bring that knowledge and expand upon it, and expand upon it, and expand upon it, and build with you this community. But it was really, really hard to leave. When I stepped down, and I knew the minute that I made, well, the funny thing is, you mentioned Spirit as a co-author of your song. Spirit is the co-author of my life, and it was an awakening that I had in that moment that what was mine to do was complete. And so that's what precipitated a decision. And I think that there are times when we stay in one experience of life far too long because we're not willing to look at that and say, what was mine to do here is complete. I think, yeah, I'm going to say this because why the heck not? I think there are ministers who stay in pulpits too long. It's just a fact of life. It's a matter of, it's fine, no judgment, but I knew it was my time to go, and as challenging as it was, I moved aside. Now, what happens when you are when you are an immigrant is that you have an immigration record, which I did when I was living in Canada, serving as the spiritual director at the CSL in Toronto. And when I resigned, I looked at my immigration record and I thought, oh, that means I have to leave the country by a certain date. And so everything had to be put into order because I knew that my immigration record was running out. I could have stayed another 6 months, but I wouldn't have been able to derive any kind of income. So I made the decision, I'm going to leave. Well, then there's the other factor of I had recently, just months prior, gotten married, and so to a Canadian citizen. And so now my Canadian husband does not have the immigration credentials to move to the United States, and I didn't have the immigration credentials to stay in Canada, so we separated. And he stayed there, and I moved back to the United States, and that's the way our lives unfolded for about 18 months. Now, many of you who were here last week will have met my husband because he was here last Sunday, and I'm so grateful because he actually, here's the great news, he has in his passport, he has his visa, but you know what we got in the mail yesterday? His actual green card. Yeah. But through that year and a half, what allowed me to get through, if there was any getting through, was living my life in gratitude, waking up in every single moment, not every single morning, every single moment, waking up and realizing that there are blessings in my life. But you have to practice. You have to practice. I've been at this for a while. I lived my life blind up until about 2004, 2005, when I came into this philosophy. And I was living my life blindly, but I was having a good time in ways that, maybe were not so constructive in my life, but I was having a good time. I was living the actor's life. I was out there acting, thank you. Acting, singing, dancing. But the change that made my life more authentic was coming into a place of recognizing that spirituality was really important to me and devoting my life to this path and to this practice and committing myself to being a way shower to all of humanity. So I'm grateful for that. I live in gratitude in every single moment. The practice is work. Nobody ever wants to hear that. The practice is work. We all want to say, oh, I got it. Now I don't have to do it anymore because I've got it. And the truth is that time does come, but you don't realize that it's actually come. Because we have to work at spiritual practice until we don't have to work at spiritual practice anymore, because what happens is we have ingrained it in our habitual way of being and thinking. And that, for me, is the goal. Because Ernest Holmes is not about you change one thought and everything in your life changes. No, Ernest Holmes teaches, and we teach, that it is the tendency of our thinking that creates our life. The tendency of our thinking. So do we tend to be more on the side of gratitude, or do we tend to be more on the side of negative thoughts? What is taking up the most room in our mind and in our heart? Because that's the way our life is going to unfold. So it's not about finding that one perfect demonstration that's going to make everything fall into place. No, it's about being the perfect demonstration of the things that are constructive at all times, no matter what. Gratitude is a full step of treatment. Treatment, jargony word for those of you. I know many of you come from the New Thought philosophy or the religious science philosophy, which is my particular branch of New Thought in which I am a minister. And the first thing that we learn to do when we start taking classes is we learn the process and the method of what is called spiritual mind treatment. Affirmative prayer. And it's in 5 steps. Now, there will be people who say, but what about the 7-step treatment? And I will say, I don't teach the 7-step treatment. I teach a 5-step treatment. I talk about the 7-step treatment, but I think the 5-step treatment is actually more powerful. That's a whole other talk. I just want to let you know, 5 steps of treatment. Do I remember? Recognition, unification, declaration, gratitude, release. Now, I've changed number 2. And the ministers in the room are going, really? And I'm going to say, yes, I've changed number 2, and here's why. I don't unify with God. I identify as God, as we all should. So I say it's recognition, identification, declaration, gratitude, release. But that 4th step, gratitude, we make that an entire step in the process of the way, the method in which we pray, because gratitude, like I said, is the gasoline in the engine of creation. When we allow ourselves to be filled with gratitude, the feeling of gratitude, when we can allow ourselves to be fully immersed and feeling that feeling of gratitude, boy, life unfolds magnificently. It just does. It just does. But it's practice, it's work. You have to work on it until you've made it second nature. So here are some steps. How do we charge the gratitude machine? Number 1, in all things, recognize the gift that has been given. That's step number 1 in charging our gratitude machine. However seemingly small, there is no great nor small to the soul that maketh all, Emerson wrote. God knows only one thing. I am, it is. There is only one thing going on. It doesn't know. We are the ones who decide that something is greater or smaller. So, recognize the gift you've been given, however seemingly small or grand it may be. That's number 1. Number 2, let that feeling of gratitude well up. Allow yourself to experience the physiology of gratitude. What does it feel like in your body? Our bodies are energetic expressions of spirit. Our bodies are not matter. It's all energy. It's all energy. And we vibrate at the level at which we decide to vibrate. So if we're vibrating at the high level of gratitude, it's quite magnificent. 3, take time to meditate on that feeling. Take time to meditate on the feeling. As we practice gratitude, allowing ourselves to feel it, meditate on it, and recognize it in everything, just start to look at the things in your life that shift. Just start to look at it. We're like iPods. What? We are like iPods. I don't have my phone's back there. So an iPod is a device. It's an individualization. And it is self-contained, right? It is a self-contained device. What the iPod does, y'all know what an iPod is, right? Yeah, I was just going to say, if there's anybody who doesn't know what an iPod is, I will explain it. But if you all know what an iPod is. So here's what an iPod does. It's a self-contained, individualized device. It takes on information from a higher source. See where I'm going with this? Here's the nice thing. If you have your iPod as part of your iPhone, or whatever, if you're an Android user, it's all the same thing. I'm an Apple user, but if your iPod is part of your iPhone, it is always connected. How's that for a metaphor? We're always connected, no matter what. We don't have to plug in. We're always connected. And it is always connected to a seemingly inexhaustible resource. If you've ever gone onto the iTunes store, you can pretty much find any album you could ever imagine, and some that you probably shouldn't imagine. We are never without options when we are connected within and as spirit, when we recognize that we are always connected. Here's the other nice thing. I have, on occasion, downloaded music onto my iPod or my iPhone that did not appeal to me. Well, here's the good news. I can let it go. I can delete it right off of there. We can do this. We're like iPods, or maybe we're iGods. We have to charge it up, though. One requirement of the iPod is that it has to be charged up. You have to plug it in so that it can recharge the battery. We all need time to recharge our batteries. Is there anyone who can just go without ever recharging their battery? No. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. We always have access to that infinite energy source, no matter what, 100% of the time. And the way that I charge up my battery, see, this is where it comes full circle, is through the gratitude practice, the practice of gratitude. Because I always find that when I am in gratitude practice, I'm always fully charged. I'm always available to being the unlimited potential, the uninhibited perfection that I absolutely am. And this is true for each and every one of you. So, you get to take your pick of how you would like to experience your life. Are you going to allow yourself each day to tap into that charging dock of gratitude? And there's no special equipment necessary for us, again. We just get to tap in. Or are you going to do something else? Because here's the other part of this. The greatest gift we have been given, the greatest gift there is the gift of choice. That we live lives of choice. Every moment, in every instance, we are making choices. We make many of them below the level of awareness. But as we make choices, so our life unfolds. So if our tendency in thinking is charged up with gratitude, we make better choices. We make choices that are more constructive. We make choices that are at a higher vibration. But we get to live in that place of choice. And that's the magnificent aspect of this teaching that I love to celebrate this time of year at Thanksgiving, because why not? Now, as I said, the trust part of grace, gratitude, and trust is that I'm going to trust that there is a perfect reading that I have not pre-considered. So what I would like for you to do is to provide for me, please, a number between 25 and 425. 33. Wasn't that the same number last week? Okay. Did you look this up?
No, I didn't.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. A number between 1 and 4. 2. Nature seems to await our comprehension of her, and since she is governed by immutable laws, the ignorance of which excuses no man from their effects, the bondage of humanity must be the result of our ignorance of the true nature of reality. Nature seems to await our comprehension of her, and since she is governed by immutable laws, the ignorance of which excuses no man from their effects, the bondage of humanity must be the result of our ignorance of the true nature of reality. Has anyone here at any point in their life ever felt bound? I've felt bound in my life. I have felt bound mostly by old ideas, old paradigms that no longer serve me. Remember when I said before it's all a choice? I get to decide. I get to decide if I'm going to live in that paradigm or if I'm going to move on from that. Nature, the essence of nature is to not be bound. We perceive boundaries because we perceive limitation. But the true nature of each and every one of us is unlimited, no matter what. So nature seems to await our comprehension of her. Nature, I love that. Nature seems to await our comprehension of her. As though nature is just sitting there like, hello? When are you going to realize that you're part of this infinite, magnificent wholeness? Hello? Right? The ignorance of which excuses no man. Oh, so it says governed by immutable laws. There are laws, and we mention it in the Lighting the Flames of Faith. One of the things that I say is we light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. Now, we talk about various laws, but there really is only one law, the law of cause and effect. For everything that shows up in our experience, that is the effect. There is cause behind it. What we teach is that cause is entirely in mind. 100%, everything that shows up out there started as a mental idea right here or right here, because I like to equate mind and heart as the exact same thing. And the more that I make those two the same thing, then the more I get to experience the gratitude of life and have life unfold magnificently. So there is an immutable law from which not a single one of us is excused. We are living the effects of our thinking. That's basically what he's saying there. So if you ever wondered, I know that I've come into this philosophy, and I know that my thoughts create my experience, I wonder what I'm thinking. Look at your experience. It is a direct reflection of what you're thinking. So if you ever are confused about what you're thinking, there's the evidence all around you. Everywhere you go, it is a reflection of what's happening in your mind. So we are not a single one of us is excused from the effects. The bondage of humanity must be the result of our ignorance of the true nature of reality. So if we feel bound, as many people do, if we feel bound, it is simply because we don't know. If we feel bound, it is simply because we have to think something that is freeing. If we feel bound, we have to step into a new paradigm and way of thinking and being. And today, the message for me is that when we are doing this from that point of view of gratitude, it just gets easier. That's the nature of life. So you ready to go on that journey with me? All right. Let us all commit this week, not just on Thursday, but let's begin the commitment to a lifelong experience and expression of gratitude. What do you say? This is how I choose to be. This is how I choose to unfold. And this is how I choose to live my life, no matter what. Namaste. And actually, what I should end this with is Meister Eckhart. You know this one, right? If the only prayer you ever say in your life is thank you, it will be enough. So let us pray thank you at all times. Tucson New Thought, and I step into gratitude for what it is you're going to offer and what it is you do offer the center here today. Tucson New Thought is a community that is supported through your contributions, through your investment, through your tithes, whatever you choose to call it. It is a gift, and I like to imagine it as the infinite nature of sharing, which is what we're all in. The consciousness of giving is a starting point which engages the experience of receiving because it's all part of an infinite wholeness and an infinite circulation. So as we give, so we receive. So I invite you to give with your heart today in alignment with the vision of this center, which is to create a world that works for everyone. There are many options for giving. You can give, we can take cards. If you're online with us, you can click the link, which is right in the description field, and you can participate in this giving, this experience as well. And I want to say I honor your investment in this vision and mission. So let's read together the Divine Givingness Statement, which is on your handout today. I'm grateful for this fly. Yes. All right, here we go. Divine love consecrates my gift. It goes forth to heal, prosper, and bless. It is evidence of my conviction that spirit is the source and substance of my supply. I joyously contribute to the vision of my spiritual center, knowing that it returns to me multiplied abundantly. And I thank William for bringing the basket around. We do have needs as we continue to grow. I'm always encouraging you, our community, to step up and serve on Sundays as a greeter or usher. Also in providing hospitality on every week. And our hospitality today, thank you so much, has been provided by Marvis. Thank you. Also, if you have any prayer requests, if you have any requests for spiritual mind treatment, there are forms on the table over here. You can fill out a form of what it is that you are looking to have us pray over, and I am happy to do that. And we have a minister and a practitioner who have both stepped up to be of service in this community as well, who will pray over those things too. Just fill out a form, and you can put it in the black basket, which is over by the table there. If you would like a response, just as a confirmation that the prayer was complete, just put your email address on the back of the form, and we'll send you a response and say, yes, this was completed. Also, if you are called to, if this is the place that is calling to you, and this is where you would like to be on your spiritual journey at this period of your life, we also have membership forms that you can fill out, and you can become an official member of Tucson New Thought. I want to say thank you to John and Spark Project Collective for being our host in this space every single week. I want to say thank you to Stefan for playing. I want to say thank you to Anita for bringing your song. And wasn't it just wonderful? Yeah, thank you so much. I want to say thank you to Aiden for his technical support and making sure that we are out to the interwebs. Yes, I want to say thank you to Robbie Jean, our reader today, for what it is you have brought to our hearts. Thank you so much. And I want to say especially thank you to each and every one of you for being here, being present, and opening your hearts to share this vision, share this mission, and allow ourselves to unfold in magnificence. I'm going to invite Stefan to come back up, and I'm going to invite Anita to come up as well as we step into this final moment of the experience today. We call this period the benediction. And when we're studying to become practitioners and ministers, we learn that benediction is all about grace. It is all about blessing each and every person who walks away from this time and this experience, and knowing that they leave here, and we also allow ourselves to be filled with that gratitude. So let's allow ourselves to take a moment and be filled with gratitude. And decide to be filled with gratitude.
May the long time sun shine upon you. All surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. All surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on.
And so I allow myself to step into the secure knowledge that there is only one power, one presence, one infinite creative resource, and I call it love. I recognize it as love. I allow myself to be welled up with this feeling of love and trust that each and every one of us is immersed in the experience and expression of love, for that is what we are. We are the physical representation, the physical manifestation of infinite love. For the nature of love is creative, no matter what. And so I know that we are each of us creating our lives perfectly, allowing ourselves to be welled up with this gratitude and trusting and knowing that in gratitude we are simply being that which we are meant to be, God. For there is no separation. There is only one power, one presence. There is only God. This is who and what each and every one of us is. We are God. Trusting this, knowing this, and with gratitude, I simply release, let go, allow, and live perfectly, easefully, and effortlessly in this grace. I trust, I know, I allow. And together we say, and so it is.
May the long time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way
Namaste, everyone. Thank you so much.